I'm Jennings Martin reporting for Channel 7 Sports from Bradenton, Florida. We're here at Pirate City. This is the winter home of the world champion Pittsburgh Pirates. They're working this year under new manager Bill Verdon and preparing to defend that world title of baseball. Can they repeat as National League pennant winners and go on to another World Series? We'll see all that upcoming on Pirate Preview 72. It came as no real surprise that the Pittsburgh Pirates won the Eastern Division title in the National League last year, but a lot of doubters figured the San Francisco Giants, champions in the West, would make short work of the Bucs in the all-important championship series. The Bucs won the fourth and deciding game 9-5 as Hebner and Oliver homered. Dave Justy was near perfect in relief for the third game in a row. And to bring back those exciting memories of that championship series, let's look at this. And so after a lot of work, the Pittsburgh Pirates were the National League champions, and now it was on to Baltimore and Game 1 of the World Series. The odds makers said the Pittsburghers didn't really have a chance against the Birds' 4 20-game winners, and there were a lot of I-told-you-sos as Baltimore took the first game 5-3 behind star Dave McNally. The Birds took Game 2 11-3 as Pittsburgh could do nothing right. Then it was Game 3 at home at Three Rivers Stadium, and it was the Pirates' turn to move. Steve Blass tossed a great three-hitter, and Pittsburgh won by a score of 5-1. Now, Game 4 was the first night game in the history of World Series play, and the Bucs won 4-3 with young Bruce Kison the winner. Pittsburgh took Game 5 4-0 with Nelson Briles tossing a magnificent two-hitter. Well, back to Baltimore for Game 6, and the Orioles won there 3-2. The series was tied up at 3 games each. And the Bucs won the 7th game and the series title 2-1 behind the great pitching of Steve Blass and the continued fantastic hitting of Roberto Clemente. And now some of those final moments of the title game. Well, all that's history. Can the Pirates do it again under new manager Bill Verdon? We think so, and we'll check the reasons why after this message. In right fielder Roberto Clemente, the Pittsburgh Pirates have the most complete player in baseball. The great one is an excellent hitter, a top base runner, and plays his position flawlessly. And with that rifle-like arm, he turns doubles into singles and forces base runners to stop when they don't want to stop. Roberto capped another brilliant season in 1971 by playing superbly in the World Series against Baltimore, no news to anyone. He was named Sport Magazine's most outstanding player in the series. He received the Babe Ruth Award as the most valuable player in the series, plus many, many more accolades. Clemente batted .341 in the 1971 campaign overall, and time after time he rallied the ball club with a great play or a key hit. Roberto is closing in on the 3,000 hit mark. He needs 118 to hit that plateau this season. Roberto returns for his 18th year in a Pirate uniform, and fans naturally wonder how many more seasons the great one will play.
Well, it looked like that I came here in 1955, and if I look back, don't seem too long, but 18 years are lots of years.
Tell us about this 1972 ball club, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Are they going to be better this season than last?
I think we're going to be stronger. I think that the league going to be stronger. So this is something that I hope that everything will go well, and I hope that we are continuing the way that we are going right now without any injuries, and we'll see what happens, because this is going to be a very, very interesting year for us this year, because I think that the teams that faded out last year, like Chicago and St. Louis and Cincinnati, they're going to have a very strong team, and you cannot count Houston this year out either, and San Francisco and Los Angeles, they're going to be tough. So this is going to be a really, really tough fight, but we have the material to play good baseball, and that's only you can do. Just play your best and let things take care for themselves.
First baseman Bob Robertson has emerged as one of the game's top sluggers in only 2 full seasons in the majors. Robertson is capable of hitting a home run anytime he comes to the plate in any ballpark. I can recall a few seasons ago when Robbie was in the Pirates minor league organization and very discouraged that he was not up in the big leagues naturally, but he kept hanging in there, and following a kidney operation back in 1968 has come on to improve each year at the plate and at first base.
Well, I don't know. I try to do a good job, but there are some first basemen better than I am in the big leagues. But I try to do the best I can. I think that I have improved, and I think that I'm going to try to keep on improving. I think all ball players can improve themselves, and I want to improve. There's a few things at first base I don't do well, and I just want to keep working at it and try to do all these things much better.
Bob, are you the type ball player that sets any particular goals in the early season?
Not really. I don't believe too much in goals. I believe in trying to have a good year. I mean, as far as that's concerned. But my goal this year is to try and play as regularly as possible without having too many injuries. But as far as goals are concerned, I just want to go out and play every day. And I think that if you try and set goals, I think if you don't live up to them halfway through the season, I think you have a tendency to press a little bit. So I just want to play every day.
Al Oliver became the Pirates' regular center fielder last year and made the adjustment rapidly. Al is a top-notch first baseman too, of course, but a move had to be made to get both he and Bob Robertson in that lineup. Oliver is hopeful that he can overcome the habit of starting off slowly.
I am 100% set to go in center field this year, 100%.
Al, I know that you have complete confidence in yourself now as a center fielder. And I'm glad you feel that way because it certainly, you have to have confidence out there or you can't play that pretty tough position.
This is true. You know, like I was always a first baseman. Then last year I made the transition to to a center fielder. And like it took a lot of time and practice last year because I've never played center field before. And probably the hardest adjustment of being a center fielder is the ball hit directly at you. You can't move too quick. You had to wait and see the ball first. And this was probably the main fault I had probably the first month of the season. I know I had misjudged a few balls right at me. You know, I took the first step in, and by that time it was too late to recover, and the ball was sailing straight over my head. But like I'm fully covered out there in center field now, and just hope I can stay out there.
Okay, now if from time to time you're called upon for some reason to play first base, you're also ready there.
I'll tell you, that's one position that I can definitely do it there with, is at first base. So, you know, I know for a fact that probably I would like to stay in center field 162 games this year, but I know for a fact that Robertson might have a little injury every now and then, and possibly I'd play first base. But if I'm called to play first base, I will play first base this year.
You know, when Gene Alley is healthy, he is one of the top shortstops to play this game of baseball. But Gene has had more than his share of injuries. Manager Bill Verdon is hopeful that Gene remains healthy this season because he's needed in that left side of the infield.
Well, last year, I took a whole spring training with a cast on my hand. I really couldn't do much, and this year at least I'm getting to play in a few games, and I feel that it will help me into the season a little more. Last year I started the season just like spring training. The only thing I'd really done was throw and run.
Gene, through the seasons, you've had some difficulty in throwing with muscles or a tendon sliding over the bone in your shoulder. Now, what is the condition of your arm right now?
Well, it feels good. I've had no trouble with it at all. So I'm not worried about that.
Excellent ball club to deal with in the Pittsburgh Pirates, the world champions, and a club you must indeed have been proud of last season.
Well, I think anybody should have been. I know I was, just to be a part of it. I didn't contribute that much to it, but just to be on it, be on a world championship team, it's got to be a good feeling.
You know, Pirate third baseman Richie Hebner is going to have to work hard to surpass some of his accomplishments of the '71 season. It was his biggest year power-wise in 6 years of pro ball. Richie had 17 home runs, 17 doubles, and 8 triples. His overall average was .271. Hebner is young, certainly aggressive, a good clutch hitter, and he comes through under the pressure.
Well, it took me a while. You like to get up and hit home runs and get hits, but you used to go out in the field and you maybe boot a ball. It didn't bother me. Everybody thinks hit. But now I get to where defense is just as big a part in this game because it shows you. Brooks Robinson makes $100,000 on his glove. I'm not knocking the guy bat, but makes a lot of money on his glove. And it takes, when you get the bat in your hand, you got to think offense. When you get the glove in your hand, you got to think defense. And it's nice to go to ballpark and see home runs and RBIs and the doubles and triples, but it's also nice to make the plays. And when you make the plays, you don't have to get all them hits to win a ball game.
Rich, how do you feel personally about this business of being platooned when they're throwing left-handed pitchers?
Well, I like to play every day, but Pagan has been a fine job when I've been here, 3 years in the big leagues, and he's one of probably the best utility ball players in the big leagues the last 4 or 5 years, and he's done a tremendous job, and I can't knock the guy. Against lefties,
But I like to play. I think I'm going to play a little bit more this year against lefties. But like I said, it's nice to go to the clubhouse when you're in first place and a little bit behind. But it's tough to go to a ballpark when you're 17, 20 games behind. It's tougher to put a uniform on. So I like to think I can play 130 games this year, maybe get up 450 times and get my swings.
Second baseman Dave Cash is the leadoff hitter for the world champion Pirates. He has good bat control, confidence, and poise, and this has enabled him to do a good job as he batted .289 on the season last year, collected 138 hits, and received 46 walks. Cash has excellent speed, good range, and can make the plays at second base. Bill Mazeroski, the premier second sacker of the past decade, has helped Cash a great deal in the finer points of making the pivot and getting rid of that ball quickly to the first baseman.
Yes, he helped me a little, Jennings. I learned most of my second base play through observation, from him. Instrumental in me playing second base than anybody in the organization now. He worked with me day in, day out, and he just did an outstanding job.
Now, a veteran is moving into the twilight of his career in Bill Mazeroski. This has to be a little bit sad in its own way.
Oh, yes, it is, Jennings. But one day I'll be playing out my career. It's only a matter of time as far as Mazeroski or Brooks Robinson or anybody like this who's considered in the twilight of their career. It's a shame we have to get old, but it has to be that way.
Well, that's true. It's the time in the career that I knew it was coming. Everybody knows it's going to come to him sometime or other, but you don't like to face the fact that the time will come when I have to retire, because baseball's been great to me, and geez, I don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for baseball, and I'd like to stay in as long as I can, and just if when I do retire, I'd like to coach a few years and try to help somebody else.
Catcher Manny Sanguillen is certainly one of the most exciting ball players in the majors. He's a free swinger at the plate, a daring base runner, an excellent receiver with a strong arm, and that's about all you can ask of any ball player at any position. Manny, I've just talked to young Milt May, your nearest competitor in the catching ranks on the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he says he paid you quite a compliment. He says he thinks you are the top catcher in the major leagues, and I know you appreciate that.
Yes, I do. I appreciate it, and I appreciate what everybody said too, because you have so many good catchers right now in baseball, so you really have to be careful and try to put it out together more you can.
Manny, do you have one favorite pitcher that you like to catch above any others on the Pirate Mound staff?
As I told you, yes, I lie. You see, because if you have a really favorite pitcher, you might hurt the other pitcher fail. So in other words, you better say you want to catch everyone. You love to catch out the pitcher, to put it out together. That's the way I work. I love to catch out my pitcher because I think the pitcher going down there doing a good job, and I want to doing a good job too. So I do love to catch everyone.
Left fielder Willie Stargell has become one of the most feared hitters in Major League Baseball. Big Will enjoyed his greatest year in the majors last season as he set career marks in homers with 48 and in RBIs with 125. He established a Major League record for most homers through the month of April with 11 and league marks with most home runs through June and July. He set another National League mark for most homers against a single club as he smacked 11 four-baggers against the Atlanta Braves. Stargell is a sound defensive player with a strong arm. He's a leader on the field with a very fine attitude and a very happy approach to this wonderful game of baseball. Doc Ellis won 19 games and lost 9 for the Pittsburgh Pirates last year. Now, those 19 wins were the most by a Pirate pitcher since Vernon Law turned the trick back in 1960. What a memorable year that was. He tied a team record for starters by winning 13 decisions in a row. And Doc was hampered a great deal in the last 2.5 months of the 71 campaign by elbow miseries. The big right-hander normally has excellent control and a moving fastball. He also goes to the slider, curveball, and uses the changeup. His earned run average in 71 was 3.05. Ellis came through with 137 strikeouts while giving up only 63 walks, and this attests to his fine control. He has great confidence, and if that arm and shoulder are sound this year, Doc Ellis should be murder on those National League batters. Another fine starter, and in some cases a fine reliever for the Pittsburgh Pirates, is Nelson Briles. Briles was a great addition to the Buck roster last season. He posted a 7-2 record last year in a starting capacity. Hurled a brilliant 2-hit shutout to win the 5th game of the World Series over Baltimore, and that's a game I think we'll all remember.
I think when I consider everything that I had going for me that game, the physical talent that I had, and also the mental sharpness, I would have to say that that was probably the best game I've ever pitched. Not only from a standpoint of statistics, but technically. I threw every pitch that I wanted to pitch almost where I wanted to throw it every time. And when you do that, you've got to come up with a good ball game.
Nellie, was 1971 just about the way you wanted it to be? Was it a success for you personally? Would you rather? How did you feel about this?
Well, when I was traded, I came to Pittsburgh into spring training with the idea that I wanted to win myself a pitching spot in the rotation. I knew that they had won a division the year before, and they had ball players that they had done it with, so naturally they're going to go with them. But I wanted to win a spot, and realizing that maybe not in spring training, but the first part of the season. And that didn't come, and I was very disappointed, yes, but I felt that we had a great chance of winning, and I was willing to do anything that I had to do to help the ball club, whether it be spot starting, relieving, or whatever. And then they had to go to me down the stretch starting, and I did the job. But this year is a little different, and I don't think I have to earn my stripes anymore, so I'm looking forward to being a starter and starting right fresh from the beginning.
Steve Blass is now a veteran on the Pirate Mound Corps at the age of 29. He's a fine competitor, has a live fastball, excellent control, and certainly mixes his pitch as well. He did that great job in the 7th game of the World Series when the pressure was really on. His ERA last season, 2.85. He won 15 games, lost 8. He's a first-class player, a great sense of humor, and one of the most popular men on the Pirates. Here is Steve Blass in the Pirate dressing room following his great victory in winning Game 7 against Baltimore last year in the World Series.
Yeah, the circumstances and the pressure surrounding a World Series game, any game, I guess, and especially the last game, is unbelievable because I've played 11 or 12 years of professional baseball, and I've never run across anything like that in my life.
Steve, we always hear talk about this fine power of the Pirate hitters. They can produce a lot of runs, but obviously you have to have a pretty good pitching staff, too, to be the world champions.
Primarily the same pitching staff that had enough to win the World Championship last year, and that was enough. When you get through 162 games in the National League, you've got to have good pitching. You can't carry that league on one facet like offense. You just can't overpower them offensively. You've got to have some defense, and you've got to have pitching. I think a lot of times the criticism of our staff is that it's not a spectacular pitching staff. We don't have the 20-game winner or winners, and anytime you don't have a 20-game winner, why people tend to overlook it and go to somebody who has a more spectacular pitcher. But we've got good major league depth. We've got good successful experience all the way down the line in our pitching staff. So it's I don't think that if we run into trouble anywhere along the way with our pitchers, the bullpen and letting them start.
Pirate Preview 72 continues in a moment. It's a big year to come for new Pirate manager Billy Burton. Bill was named to succeed Danny Murtaugh as manager of the Pirates back on November 23rd. He was Murtaugh's right-hand man during the 1970 and 1971 campaigns.
When you're running a club when Danny was a manager and I happened to be running it when he was sick, there's still the fact that Danny is the man and he's the one that calls the shots. But after you once get it yourself, now it's my responsibility. And there's a different feeling, there's a different air about the whole situation, although I am familiar with everybody and they're familiar with me, so it's not.
I'd like to give you the toughest competition in your Eastern Division.
Well, it's kind of hard to pick one club because I can name 3 or 4 clubs in our division last year that were all tough. Cardinals finished second, but we had as much trouble with the Mets and Montreal even as we did with them. So I'm going to say I'm going to point at all of them and not just point at the Cardinals and then have some of the others slip up on us.
Well, Bill, we know that the Pittsburgh Pirates can score runs. They have a lot of powerful hitters, home run hitters, singles hitters, line drive hitters. In Clemente, you have one of the greatest outfielders in the business also, and Oliver and Stargell naturally. But ball games are still won on that pitching mound. Are you pretty proud of your pitching corps?
I'm pleased, very pleased with it up to this point. I think they're all in good shape. All the arms are in good shape. Nobody's complaining about aches and pains in regard to their throwing arms. So at this stage of the game, I got to be awful pleased, and with the way they're pitching, I'm overly pleased.
And there we have a few observations on the 1972 edition of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Naturally, manager Bill Verdon and his players have all the confidence in the world that they will repeat as the pennant winners in the National League and go on to another baseball world title. A lot of other managers and players feel the same way, but after all, the Bucks are the powerful defending champions. They have a power-packed lineup, and if that pitching comes through, it should mean another express trip to the National League's East.